All right, welcome back to ESL Pro League Season 5. It's the final matchup of the night. It's going to be Immortals and OpTic.
Now, yeah, I mean, after that first game, what can we really expect from OpTic here?
Well, how about it's more of what we can expect from Mr. De Beers Stromberg, who is flying high over there at the Telestrator. Take it away, De Beers.
Thank you, Stunner. Here we're going to take a look on Immortals on Overpass. As you see right here, we see FNX. He's feigning the connector push. He's throwing smokes. He's throwing flashes. This causes LG to kind of slow down a bit. They see the smoke. They're down 12-6. They have to respect it. So it's going to be a slow game here. And what this does, it sets up for the entire Immortals team to get information without really having to be too aggressive. As you see, Lucas is pushed up in the water. We have Bolts watching the monster area. And then we have Steel kind of hopping around, spotting that long A. So pretty much every spot on the map is pretty much accounted for at the moment. And while this kind of forces Luminosity to play slow, this is a strength for Hen 1. If you're opping, you want people just to slow peek corners. It's the easiest kills you can get in the game. As you can see right here, for them making, for Immortals making Luminosity slow down, it kind of sets up a gauntlet. It hands time for Immortals to have a gauntlet to where you run into Henny's up, then you fall back into FNX's flashes, and then you fall back into the bomb site of Steel. That's the idea of the plan. And while that's happening, you got Lucas trying to flank from the water up to connector, and you can see it happen unfold very nicely as Henny's peeking to get some information. He finds one kill off the bat. So this makes him fall back. He wants to fall back while taking some pop shots here and there. He gets lucky that his teammate dies instead of him, but he's still falling back. He's still creating angles every time he falls back, making it harder for the other team to kill him. And you have Steel with a nice A kill, and then again, all this time it hands Lucas opportunity to fast flank him. He gets the kills and he seals the round. Nice job by Immortals of using the map, finding all the information without being too risky, and then falling back, making it more difficult for the Luminosity team to kill them and take the A-bomb site. Back to you, Stunner.
Thank you, De Beers. Now, we're going to go into a quick prediction here from you, Bach. OpTic Immortals, Overpass. Go.
I'm going to have to go with Immortals here. After that first map, I just really can't see OpTic bouncing back that easily.
And there's a chance that entirely deflated OpTic going into this next one, getting beat down like that. But standing by to take us into a whole new dream world is Blue and Dazed. Take it away, guys.
I don't know about a dream world, but we'll try to give you the best coverage of this map that we can as we're going to Overpass. Dazed, your thoughts heading into this map?
This used to be a very, very strong map for OpTic, and I think before I would have definitely heavily favored OpTic over Immortals on this map. You know, having said that, I don't want to look too much into 22 rounds at the end of the day onto Cobble and completely base it all off of that, of how I want to feel about OpTic going forward. But just the things I saw in that match, it was just a completely different, team than what we casted last season and what we saw from E-League and whatnot. So I'm a little bit worried for them, but we'll see if they can restore my confidence a bit more. I mean, that is only their first loss on the season, I believe. I think they're 4-1 now, right?
I believe so. Yeah, they've been doing pretty flawlessly beyond that. So they're still sitting at a pretty good record. But we do get ourselves into the pistol round here now. We'll take a look at what the Immortals have to offer now on their T side, starting off on Overpass. And while they're not going to hesitate at all, they're going directly into this push now, up over into the B bomb site. Resistance is actually going to be pretty non-existent until they get down to the connector here, where FNX is trying to hold things off. He picks up one kill before being traded out, but it's even at the end of the day. Goes 3 for 3. Bomb on the ground on the B bomb site in the meantime. Rush, despite that last kill he's gotten, we haven't been able to see anything else from him or the rest of OpTic just yet. In fact, they're being pushed back quite nicely. Hiko, though, with that flick on the bolts, destroys his entire existence. And he's going to get knocked out here. Combos it into a second on a steal, and then Rush gets the final kill. So OpTic pull off a nice retake there, and they'll be able to control the pistol round. Yeah, just ridiculous whips by Hiko there. Great shot by him. That was like a little bit of that inhuman reaction thing. So Hiko, a nice flank onto B. Immortals does get the bomb down, though, so they'll probably save here, but I actually think Overpass is a map that you could definitely second round buy on if you get the pistol plant down, even if you lose it, just because
like a good take with smokes and mollies is actually so hard to stop on really both bomb sites. They opt to just save. They have P250s, 2 Glocks, and a flashbang. So right now, you know, this should be an easy round for OpTic in theory. Mixwell getting very, very aggressive. And man, Mixwell is one of the best players at, you know, a lot like Fur. Not quite as good as Fur at it, but just like taking an SMG and just winning the round by himself, building up a ton of money, and playing very, very smart, you know, with those SMGs.
Mixwell does spot them crossing out from the connector early on here, so they know something's up in the short approach leading up to this bomb site here, but they're obviously not going to have a definitive idea just yet. The rest of the Brazilians are keeping themselves pretty quiet here as they do move up to the very edge of that smoke. Steel waits into the side with the flashbang one so they can push back in, and it works, but they don't check for Mixwell in the corner. He actually chimes in for 1 kill while he is completely blind, but the rest of this is getting destroyed by OpTic. All they end up losing the prizes is Mixwell, and that's really just because he's overextended into that corner.
Yeah, not so much overextended, I don't think, just because he did have teammates to capitalize off his death. But he does take a pop flash and then only gets 1 and dies. But, you know, at the end of the day, they only lost 1 player. They'll take that all day long. So they are going to have 2 FAMASs, 3 FAMASs actually, and 2 SMGs for OpTic. And they're going against a full buy of AKs from Immortals.
And we see the guys on the Immortals splitting up here pretty quickly. Mainly up towards like the playground and the water fountain over there towards the A spawn site, but we still have 1 more sitting back down below. I believe that is going to be Bolts lurking just outside of Monster here.
Yeah, so they set up in a 3-1-1, and this is a very, very standard default for any start of the round. They're making sure a lot of the time when you're a T and you buy up in this 3rd round and you know you're going against SMGs, they do a lot of pushes and aggression. So they're just waiting to see if they can, you know, stop any of that by a default like this, taking their time, and now they're just walking into bathrooms control, slowly moving up connector FNXs, and just slowly trying to take map control and seeing if OpTic is going to get more kills.
Lucas already pushing his way into the bathroom here a little bit, but the nade comboed with Tarek, but Tarek actually turns his back. Didn't expect the second player to peek so soon. So Steel is going to get a catch the trade in that situation. They go back down to a 4v4. A little bit of ground gained at the same time from the Immortals off this one, so not a bad trade at the end of the day. They'll have their path basically leading all the way up to the A-bomb site for free now, but he's still at Bolt sitting back downstairs, and he has a smoke to try and toss over onto the B-bomb site to sell it a little bit here. But at the same time, for the OpTic guys that are actually playing on B for the CT side, now they've already pushed back out. They know that there's nothing here, despite that 1 player that has thrown a little bit of utility. He's now going to be lurking back, but they do have the flank working its way back in here now. Hiko's going to grab that kill. Steel and FNX are having better luck up on the bomb site. They do know that the flank is on the way, but the problem is they left the bomb on the ground right here, so they will have to battle to get it back. And unfortunately for them, well, Rush finds one of the 2 remaining T's alive here, and Steel's only at 14 HP. That's going to be left for him to try and clutch this one before, and well, he just goes for the duel instead of planting the bomb, and that works out beautifully for him as he takes down Rush. It looked like Rush was ready for that one, and that'll put the Immortals on the board.
Yeah, and I think both teams are actually happy with the result of that round. OpTic, of course, they would have wanted to win it, but, you know, they have a chance to reset Immortals here and probably go up, you know, 5-1 or 6-1 by the time Immortals buys again. They actually, in my opinion, have the superior weaponry. I think Hiko definitely should have bought an AWP. He had 5950, and that would have really, really been huge here. But they do have 4 M4s and a P250, while the guys on Immortals have, you know, a double Galil and an UMP, you know, with 2 AKs. So both teams right now, this is a very pivotal round. Whoever's going to win this is probably going to take a very early game lead.
Naf already finding that first kill there against Lucas too, and they still hold full control of this connector. No one else trying to push in on the Immortals side to try and get control over there towards that connector just yet and regain it. So OpTic still has full control of this area down below leading into the entrance towards short A, and to a certain degree accessing long A as well. But meanwhile, over at long A itself, Henny's been given free presence to push his way all the way up to the bathroom connector. And if he wants to, he can push all the way up to the site as well. Although I don't think he's going to go for that currently. Just happy with this movement on the map. And actually, I think the bomb is going to be sent downstairs. He's probably just going to chill out here for now and possibly use this as a way to flank later on in the round.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised Lucas was just caught out in the middle of nowhere there. I mean, he had no teammate support, you know, wasn't taking map control together. Steel down to 42 HP because of OpTic's aggression. So we'll see what happens. Tarek might have spotted Henny, I'm not sure.
Well, and he's going to slow down his roll regardless as he moves up here. And, well, it seems like he's going to catch potentially a player for free, swinging back in the last second. He does not catch Mixwell by the side over there, so he's going to be able to take down that kill. Steel trading downstairs, but we also see Rush getting an additional kill here. Naf also chiming in from the site, too, and he's going to combo 2 together at the end. 3 overall in this round to stop the Immortals from getting any further up onto that B-bomb site.
Yeah, now Immortals definitely going to have to save, I would assume. But the Immortals team, you know, maybe they do force here if they want to double eco. But, you know, having said that, OpTic, one thing that has always impressed me as they are going to buy, since they are going to be in a double eco scenario, one thing that's always really impressed me on OpTic is Rush and whoever he's playing B with, they always do such a good job. Rush on the B site on Overpass is such a good player. He locks it down and is definitely one of the best players in North America there.
They do manage to sneak their way through the connector here pretty quickly, leading up to the doorway and the steps that follow suit from it. But OpTic have taken a step back here. They're holding back a little bit more now in this round. And Mixwell is going to be your point player, along with Tarek to watch out for pressure from that connector. Mixwell's lost his teammate. He's lost his support, and he's being tagged. He can't figure out where it's coming from, though. Bolts somehow kills Lucas in that process of that one, so not sure how that happened, but it does. And it's going to even things back down to a 4v4. Mixwell now waiting. He stuck around all that time, and it did buy them a little bit more time to rotate back up to this site. But now, Naf and the others do have to hold this back off, and it's gone down to 2. Thankfully for them, it's only 1 left alive. However, sitting on the Immortals side of things, it's just going to be FNX. He's got a minute left, still plenty of time to play with. That's not necessarily an issue at this point. It's the problem that the bomb is down around the corner from here, and he's got 2 guys sitting up on that site that he's going to have to deal with at some point. So really hoping he can fish out one of these guys, but not meant to be. OpTic are playing back very passively now that they have that advantage. Good nade against Hiko at the very least. Knocks up about half of his HP there, down to 52 now. But still, ultimately, he does have to peek back out and retrieve that. And they have Rush waiting for him here. Hiko even peeks back out too. He'll take 20 more damage, but he dinked FNX through the wall. So he's down at 13. This is looking a bit inevitable here. And finally, the kill is found at the hands of Rush.
Yeah, almost a team ace, but one of them didn't get a kill because I believe it was it Bolts or Lucas that got TK'd?
It was one of those 2, I think.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll see it here from their perspective. Oh no, we didn't, unfortunately. Skip past it. So yeah, that was a little bit weird how that happened because it kind of.
Yeah, but they got a lot of guns down, so they're pretty happy with that round. But OpTic should go up 5-1 here because they did win that pivotal swing round when it was 2-1. But OpTic's money isn't great. They're going for a fast B, and Mixwell just seems to be consistently getting caught out in the open.
Well, Tarek has found a kill from over here in the connector, but he just got dinked down to 6 HP. Steel's running in with his knife out, so that's not going to work out. And then Naf and Hiko destroy the remaining players. OpTic don't lose a single guy in that round.
Yeah, but Mixwell, it's a little bit troubling. He's gotten caught out quite a few times now, just kind of out in the open. All the OpTic guys really have. There was that one, you know, pistol armor round that he got caught out close. When that flashbang happened, Tarek got caught out when he was jumping. Mixwell probably should have died there. You know, being blind. Luckily, his teammate saved him with a nice Molotov.
A deep smoke right at the beginning of this one, I think, to cover off the monster early on here. So OpTic will also be allowed to hold down inside of there early on and also apply quite a bit of pressure, as we can see over here towards Party, and I mean leading up to even like the fountain area and just on the outskirts of the playground position too. But we have a cheeky little boost here from Lucas. I think he spotted Rush on the right side, but actually, you know, finding the kill there is still going to be very, very tough because he'd have to jump shot it, and you basically have a 0 chance of connecting onto that one. So he sees him, he's trying to hit him. No damage is going to connect, and that does give him away. Steel has better luck against Hiko as that smoke finally fades in Monster, but now Naf jumping back down to the connector crunches the little bit of control that Immortals did have across the map here now. But at the same time, OpTic is not actually going to stick around in that connector. Both Mixwell and Naf do retreat pretty quickly. They're going to cycle back over to the A-bomb site here and probably try to wrap back down. They'll keep Mixwell out in the open, sort of, to wrap back and possibly able to flank. But now we see Lucas getting a kill from Sandbags, just dominating things. I mean, he does like 80 damage to another player as well. That's Tarek down at 22 HP. So it has opened up a little bit of a path, but it's still even. It's still down to a 3v3. Gunpower's looking a little bit better for the T side currently, as there's quite a few SMGs still in the arsenal for the CT side. And in comes Steel now. He's got one. Tarek's already low at 22 HP, but Steel's has been knocked off to about half. At the end of the day, though, Bolts finding that kill on Tarek should solidify things. Mixwell, that nade's going to go far too deep to have an impact that he would have wanted. The Molotov goes up on top. That's not going to do much, but we'll see what Mixwell can do, as he has still a little bit more utility to try and play with here. The pop flash over top, the molly to block up construction, which is actually not bad, and he finds that immediate headshot on the Steel. There's the gun upgrade for himself to work with here. Over to the AK, and it's still at full ammo in the clip, too. So as he wraps back around, this is where it's going to get tough because there's nothing else to see on the site. They're both sitting back over there behind both sandbags and further into construction, and Bolts will close things out before it gets any more chaotic.
Yeah, unfortunately for Rush, the Molotov came from his teammate onto short, and this really allowed Immortals to, get great positioning into winning this round. And I think it was Lucas was sitting behind it. The Molotov did not spread to him, so Rush wanted to get aggressive right after that Molotov to get a nice flashbang, maybe to push short, but instead he gets peeked from behind that Molotov, goes out for free. Not expecting that at all, and that really opened up the site for Immortals.
So that will put us back into another big gun round for both squads here. The Immortals are a little bit more limited when it comes to like op power and whatnot and just utility overall, but it's not to a huge degree. They still have basically everything that they would need to play out the round and any type of execute that they would like to try and go for here. OpTic still has the upper hand to a certain degree. They have Mixel sitting on the op and whatnot, but now they are going to move in for control, and for the most part, OpTic actually aren't doing anything super aggressive to resist this. Both of their A players are stuck back on the site right now. They're not going to try and move out and hold Bathrooms control early on. And it's the same story down on B. No aggression towards like construction or out towards water. They're just hanging out in the sites, and they're going to let whatever come towards them hit the sites basically without any prior intel to this unless they decide to move out now, which is not looking likely.
Yeah, and Mixwell, I believe, is opting towards B. He doesn't see anything, so he's going to go back towards A. And now they're basically in a default setup. Maybe they do some mid-round aggression. We'll see. They have smokes up on all the bathrooms, but they have no nades anymore. So if Immortals does any type of a molly take and a Molotov, I know they only have two, but if one of them lands in an OpTic player's position, it's going to be really tough for them and to stop any type of execute. They just have the Molotov. All they're using their nades for is delaying them. There's 30 seconds left, though. They're throwing an A fake into some type of a B hit, and this is a classic setup by OpTic.
Eco trying to prepare for this one, but it doesn't work out, and Rush also swings right into that one, so nicely held out by the guys on the Immortals here. Now Tarek is able to trade up on the A bomb site, but Henny swinging right in there for the trade. It is counter-traded back out by Naf, but it's of little consequence considering this 2v3 that they have been put back into. I do believe...
That shouldn't happen, though. They, Hiko and Rush are set up to just demolish that. I think under normal circumstances, Hiko almost always gets that first kill. Rush peeks around the corner. That's one of the most common setups you see on Overpass holding Monster. You have the player around the spindle holding B long or B short, and as soon as Monster takes contact, he swings out. For whatever reason, though, the kills do not go OpTic's way. I think 9 times out of 10, they probably crush that between Rush and Hiko. But Immortals players, Bolts just runs out, gets a beautiful entry onto Hiko in order to open up that round. And that's a big one. I mean, Immortals players, they do keep an off and an AK and are able to salvage it, so they have a good chance of winning this round still. But right there, that kill was pivotal. That was huge. If Hiko is able to get that kill, Rush will surely swing around the corner and probably get the next two, since the next player in line would obviously try to trade off Hiko.
And now this puts OpTic's economy in shambles here, as they just have, for those that weren't able to escape with their guns, they just have P250s and a single 5.7 sitting on Rush. Terra can't even get armor. Neither can Hiko behind their buy, so immediately they are crushed off of that one. And they now have to hope that this Op and AK combo can do some massive damage in this round to equalize things and allow them to still hold control, but there's that boost again, and this time the setup is perfect for them as they do catch a player sitting directly behind the toxic barrels. That's going to be Rush, knocked out right from the beginning of the round here. And while they do have a CT pushed up against him, it's going to be Tarek here. Means little P250 is all he has to work with, but if he can work out the timing properly against Henny in the playground, he may be able to find him, but no, Henny is like, oh, hello there. So he'll be able to knock out Tarek without too much trouble here. That aggression is taken care of pretty easily. And they're having a little bit of a battle there on the B-bomb site just outside of water as they spray down against the pallets. No kill found in the process, and Hiko's still trying to kind of jump peek and see if he can reconfirm that they're still in there. The bomb now finally pushing itself back over here, and they even find Mixel around the corner too, so down goes one of the big guns with Mixel being eliminated. All that's left in terms of power weapons here is going to be Naf on the AK, and he's positioned way up over on the A-bomb site. More than likely, they're just going to be called a save again, as the Immortals have been able to slow down their roll and basically have a perfect opener on this round to get control of a site.
Yeah, and OpTic actually didn't even buy behind that AK and Op like I thought they would, so I think they are going to be able to buy in this upcoming round. But Immortals, now all of a sudden, they're probably going to have to win 2 in a row in order to make Immortals save. So if Immortals can win this round, they're going to probably take the lead. you know, not this round, but the upcoming round, as it will be 5-4 after, you know, Hiko. We'll see what he can do if he can get a gun. Just looks like he's going to save. Doesn't want to get a death. Doesn't want to take any money away from him, I guess. And now Naf, you know, he's going to be able to save his AK, so.
He's going to kind of jump back in there to see if there's anything to be found, but I don't think there's anything close enough to the site. So all he gets away with is just the P250. And regardless, we will see the investment come in, as you were mentioning previously, for the rest of the team. So they get the op back over there onto Mixwell. That's bought up by Naf, I do believe. And Hiko's just going to be able to buy for himself.
Yeah, so they broke the bank for this upcoming round, but I think they were getting pretty good money bonus here because they did go down, what was it, 5-1? Yeah, 5-1. So they're on their third round in a row loss. So they're getting pretty decent money bonus.
Immortals, however, proceed directly over towards Monster with 4 to 5 of their guys. The only one that doesn't move with them is going to be Henny. And while we've got Tarek sitting down below here inside of the connector, and it's actually double stacked too. But I don't think Henny realized this. So we may have a nasty surprise waiting for him when he goes down these steps, or at the same time he may be able to line up a bit of a counter flank. However, he's a bit slow on that one, so these two CTs are able to escape into the bomb site before that can happen. They're rotating back up, however, so they're not necessarily going to be able to help out with the situation sitting over there on the B bomb site, as this is still most definitely leaning itself into being a B hit, and a very decisive one at that. With everybody camping together, they are going to shift a bit of their mass over here towards the water push area now. But still, they've only got a couple smokes to work with here, so they do have to time this properly. Molotovs as well to try and push a couple players out of cover and force these battles to be in the open. But at the moment, the T's are just running down the timer here so that they can go for an appropriate execute. And on the OpTic side, they've got 3 here to defend it. First Molotov's actually missed there. I think it hits that little pole that's sticking up there, that little support. So it's going to bounce back in, and that's going to be washed out one. Hiko, well, he's going to be able to pick up the first kill. Rush with the second. FNX does trade. It's 3 for 2 in the favor of the Seas. Now 4 for 2, as Rush is able to get a double down to Henny. He can't see anything with that smoke blocking his path. He spots Mixwell up in heaven, eliminates him, but then Tarek back down from CT main, finishes the job for OpTic, and they do get to keep their lead going here.
Yeah, they keep their lead. Only 2 alive, though, at the end of that round. And like I said, man, Rush on that B site is just exceptional. He always steps up. He does a fantastic job, as we see on the replay with this nice 3K playing around that spindle. Hiko goes 1 and done, but that's fine because it really set Rush up for success. A lot of it is on Hiko in that position to get that 1 kill, but as long as he does get that 1 kill, I think Rush, more often than not, will probably be able to get a double kill or more, like we saw there.
Bolts hanging back here. Now, he actually may be able to get quite a bit off of this one, but the aggression from the CTs pays off. Bolts is not ready for it. The double peek works out for Hiko. He'll grab the early kill here, losing about half his HP in the process, granted, but it's enough to push these Ts back, as all of a sudden, they don't have control of water anymore. They could have stuck inside of there and just decided to hang on to that position. So now the Immortals will have to work towards a different angle here as they spread out, leading up to short A, and again, still pushing over to those connector steps right now. And he really just looking out around that doorway.
Heck are we watching? He's just full scoped, walking across the map.
And there's a double boost up here for OpTic now. Tarek waiting for a peek. He spotted Lucas. Lucas wanted to counter that one out from the looks of things, but won't pay off. It's another kill for the T's. And again, just all of a sudden the Immortals still trying to take it at this slow pace, but they're just getting picked off one by one. OpTic are having an easy time in this round. There's no pressure on them at all.
Yeah, and that's what happens. A lot of the time when you go down 4v5, you don't utilize too many nades. You just kind of walk across the map and look for a pick, and that's how you're going to even it up. And OpTic, you know, well-versed in playing against that type of a playstyle. So Immortals just going to back up, and they're going to say, hey, you know what, we should just save. We could still probably buy in this upcoming round if we take a look at their money here. Just throw a smoke at the playground. We'll see. Their money's pretty weak right now. I think they will probably buy here, I would guess, though. But, you know, none of the OpTic players died, so they're all going to end up with 3,400 plus at the end of this round for OpTic. And all of a sudden, OpTic takes a pretty big lead into this game. It's going to be 7-4. Immortals are going to be buying, most likely, but on a pretty rough buy here. And OpTic Gaming winning that round clean is what you need to have those good CT sides. You need to win the rounds clean. You need to win them, you know, with a lot of players alive, just like that.
Yeah, so really barely even testing OpTic in that round. So we saw Hiko getting that first aggressive kill, and then Tarek lines up this one on the boost up, and that pretty much sets the ship sailing for the Immortals guys, as they did not put up much of a fight at all on that one. So they forced into this round what they can. It includes beyond the saved guns, 1 more Galil for bolts and 2 Tech 9s. Utility's not bad. And we do have Tarek playing aggressively again. This time it's much more face forward, though, on the steps leading up to Party. Support a little bit further back from Mixwell is available. And beyond this, very, very quiet on the opener here from the Immortals side of things. Tarek still hugging that wall. I don't think they'll suspect him at all. He spots the shadows, so that gets that first kill, tries to get the second one, but Henny, a quick response, does manage to save his own life there. The thing is, though, is that nade also went deep, and as we can see, 12 and 11 HP on Henny and Lucas. Heavily lit, and the only other player beyond this is Bolts. So this is going to be rough to try and make a contest to this one. Thankfully, they get a free peek from Naf, so Henny's going to be able to capitalize upon that one. It re-evens the player balance into a 3v3, but they still have to worry about those health pools, because that's going to be brutal. One shot for basically any gun is going to close them out.
Yeah, not only do they have to worry about that, but they're not sure if anybody pushed behind them. So that's always going to be in the back of their head here. Henny just opting around the bathrooms, and it looks like they're all going to group up, go towards the long A, see if they could do, you know, maybe Henny posting up and everybody walk across.
And Bolts, I don't think he's seen Hiko just yet. Jumping up from the backside there of the APC. The Molotov does go in at appropriate timing, but unfortunately it's a little bit imperfect. They can probably skirt around the left side if they want to, or just wait the extra 10 seconds here since the defenses are actually quite light on this site. We see Mixwell pushing out a little bit here. Hiko's going to get pushed up against the corner of the APC, but again, he's going to have a very easy time after dispatching of Bolts there. Bolts wins the battle, though, but now here comes Mixwell. Bolts was lit up by Hiko in that battle, too, so he's down at 20 HP. Lucas already being knocked out. I think they're going to let them plant just for the sake of safety here, but in a second, Rush will also be in a position to move in for the retake here, so this is where things get very, very tough for the Brazilians here as they hold in positions. Rush, an easy time to take out Henny, and they'll have just as easy of a time to eliminate Bolts once they figure out where he is hiding out at. Molotov, a little bit too deep, but there you go. The swing out for Mixwell, the instant kill on the headshot, and down will go the rest of the T's to put OpTic up to 8 rounds.
Yeah, and this is looking like a very different OpTic team on an Overpass. They're looking much more confident. They're playing, you know, much better, obviously, being 8-4, and I think we're going to have a technical pause for Immortals here. They do get the bomb down. Not sure on their money, though, if they're going to be able to scrape together a buy on this upcoming round, but we're not seeing much from Immortals in regards to stopping the early round aggression from OpTic. We saw numerous times that OpTic is able to, you know, get the better of them, make it 4v5, especially in these last 2 rounds. Tarek getting aggressive on the fountain. Before that, you know, he was boosted up, got a pick there, and OpTic's aggression not getting punished.
Yeah, and again, speaking of Tarek here, let's take a look at his stats real quickly. 128 ADR from him playing up on the aggressive front right now. 11 and 7, so the KD doesn't look as impressive, but the ADR is certainly helping out with that one as we're going into the closing rounds of this half, and he's been one of the more impactful players to make sure they push forward. Naf not sitting far behind that one, I think at 12 and 5. He's got the better KD overall, but I think Tarek has definitely been finding a lot more of the impact so far.
Yeah, Tarek with the 6 assists. Rush doing his job at B, you know, like I said before, had a couple nice rounds there at B, especially with that big 3K, and that was a big round that he did that at. Mixwell back on the op, and they have everything they want. They got full utility, nades, head armor, full rifles. Immortals does kind of scrape together a little bit of money here. 3 Deagles and a couple armored, you know, Tech 9s, but not much utility.
Well,
and they don't look nearly as drilled as they do on Overpass as they did on Cobble.
Well, we've got Mixwell waiting it long for that peak eventually. When his chance does pass by, though, he misses the opportunity. Try and sink in a shot. Tarek, in the meanwhile, was able to pick up his first kill here. He knows he's got that pressure back out towards long, so he's going to be careful retreating towards it. Bolton was waltzing right up with a Tech 9. Actually is able to steal a kill against Nap. He go quick on the trade, though, and he's not just here for Bolt, he's also there for FNX. So Henny's going to be your last man standing. Again, very quickly, the Immortals do try to put pressure on A, and time again, it's just failed out here. So Mixwell finding the last shot there. Almost a team ace again. Hiko just picking up an extra one there as OpTic goes up to 9 now.
Yeah, and Immortals to me has always been one of those teams where they have their maps that they're like legit, you know, world class or maybe a little bit below world class on, and then there's like a pretty big drop off, and then they have their other maps where they're not as good at, right, by a pretty significant margin. Whereas like you take a look at a team like SK, and yeah, they may be better on train than their other maps, but their other maps aren't far behind. You know, like with Immortals, it just seems like a lot of their other maps are farther behind than a map like Cobble.
It's weird though with Overpass, because that, you know, historically speaking, has been a pretty strong map overall just for a lot of these Brazilian squads. When you consider how much the players have been traded around by this point, you think a lot of that would sink in and just allow it to be a good map overall for players from the region. But
no, and I do think they're good at it. I just think as a team as a whole, right? Like they play, you know, Dust 2 at times. We've seen them play Dust 2, and I just don't think they're as good as a team on like Dust 2 as they are on these other maps. Or sometimes we watch them on Mirage, and I think the Mirage is good, but I don't think it's nearly as good as like Cobble, for instance, for them. Whenever we watch them on Cobble, even going back to when we watched them with Zeus, I always thought they were very impressive. And even when they were back with Tempo Storm, you know, they had some really big victories. I think they beat Navi on it as well. So I think Cobble's, you know, I wonder if, I would be curious if we asked them what they feel their best map is, because from an outsider's perspective, it does seem like it's Cobble.
Well, the take is going to begin now over here onto the B-bombs. And Hika already striking first, rushed with the second now. It's getting torn apart currently, and there you have it. All 5 players go down. Don't even get close to the bomb site that time. Henny's able to trade out 1 kill, but that's it.
Yeah, and OpTic looking like a formidable force right now. 10-4, not a great buy by Immortals either. So OpTic has all the advantage coming into this upcoming round. And Immortals just a very different look than what we saw on Cobble. Very, very different.
Well, now in this last round, we'll see if the Immortals can try and piece together something else here. Trying to, at the very least, make this a 5-10 half to try and recover on CT side. 11-4 is obviously going to be a little bit rough, especially if OpTic starts off with the second pistol as well. But we do see aggression coming back into the mix this time towards those A bathrooms from OpTic. Specifically, it's Tarek holding up towards long. Henny's watching out for this one, though, so he's got to be careful. Just a pixel headshot angle for Tarek to work with here. Molly to try and get him out, but now he's being crushed from the other side, too. Can't get a kill this time. And it's not just here where they've succeeded in knocking out Tarek. Mixwell tried to help out Tarek by pushing out towards long, and that's where he was able to punish, but all of a sudden, Naf swings in. He finds Steel with his back turned in long. And that's going to be the bomb going down. That won't last for very long, however, as Lucas is able to swing right back out, eliminate Naf, and put this into a 2v4.
Yeah, and FNX is just waiting patiently. Lucas, although he got that kill, FNX would have certainly shot him in the back had he not. So he's in perfect position in order to close this round out. Bolt's just lurking around the party, and Rush is never going to be able to get that kill. So Hiko, I hate when that happens when I'm FNX in that situation. He's sitting there waiting in the perfect spot, never sees any action.
All right, guys, the second half is coming up in just a moment here. Stick around for the conclusion of tonight's games.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, PaySafeCard, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
And for the last time this evening, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the ESL Pro League. It's Immortals taking on OpTic Gaming here on Overpass. 10-5 is our halftime scoreline in the favor of OpTic Gaming. Assuming they win the pistol in the following 2 rounds here, they have pretty much an easy sailing time in the second half, right?
I mean, I think Overpass is T-sided, but I think it's only T-sided if you could stop the other team's opper from consistently killing you, like around the bathrooms. And like, if you know how to stop that guy and you could punish him, then I think it could be T-sided. I think what makes it really CT-sided, in my opinion, at times, is when you're able to just have an opper being around a site and you know, going towards bathrooms, getting kills that way, you know, peeking towards the grassy area, getting kills there, and just like that. I think the opera has to be very dynamic on that CT side in order to be super successful. Well, I mean, there's obviously other ways. To me, that's the most common way that I see CT sides really dominate on this map. Henny's definitely capable of that, but having said that, I do think it is inherently T-sided.
All right, well, we can take a look again at some more of the stats from the OpTic Gaming side. We looked at Tarek back over in the middle of the first half, but this is Naf's ending half score here. 15-7 of KD ratio with 101 ADR. I think Tarek's still beating him a little bit here, but Naf has been showing some good stuff as well so far on the CT side.
Yeah, I remember this map used to be the most CT-sided map. It was like there was no long A, so there was only that one choke point. It used to be when you could jump glitch, so whenever you spotted the sewers, you could never get headshotted. You could just jump and spot sewers, and you would 100% never get headshotted ever. So, because, you know, the head animation was so glitched.
Yeah.
So you just had free info. Anytime somebody came short B, there was a shorter round time, so you could just wait until you see them at short B, and then you could just smoke them off. And it's like, unless you took short really fast, what are you going to do, right? So it used to be, I remember we played Navi at ESWC, and they won the first half 14-1 on their CT side, and then we almost forced overtime. We lost 13-2 on the next half. We got it to 13-1 and then ended up losing the next round to bring it into overtime. But yeah, it used to be super CT-sided, but now with these changes, without being able to just headshot glitch and spot sewers, you know, obviously adding long A and the longer round time, it really changed it a lot.
Well, we are back in the game now, ladies and gentlemen. OpTic Gaming still with a strong lead. Immortals, definitely some recovery work to do, but they can make it easy if they are able to close out with a pistol and follow through with the next 2 rounds, of course. Just 1 or 2 gun rounds away. We'll put them from tying things back up, but let's start with the pistol here. It's been actually pretty back and forth between these 2 teams so far this evening. FNX waiting at party, but there's a big train working its way through the connector there, and Rush is going to be the one leading it there as he takes out FNX. Already finding the first kill here, and all of a sudden everything slows down for OpTic. They don't immediately try to rush up to his site following up that kill. They're actually going to spread their players across the map, see if they can catch anyone else. On Immortals here trying to get a bit overzealous, and well, if they can catch them, that's great. If not, then they can just regroup without any negatives and try to go for their execute.
Yeah, they take control of short B, but you know, they have, how many players is it here for Immortals on this B side? I'm not sure if it's 3 or 4.
As they move in, it's Tarek that finds the first kill again. They're getting overwhelmed very quickly. It's all OpTic as they push back in. No contest from Immortals at all. So it's just going to be Steel sitting back here in CT main. Tarek puts an end to that one too.
I mean, they ran into the stack and not one player died. So quick 5-11. There's no scout that's going to be on any player of Immortals, and OpTic looking just like a complete 180 from what we saw of them on Cobble.
And in we go again. We can see Lucas actually had like a second or 2 there too to react to that one, which blanks on that one. And Tarek is the big leader in terms of, again, I mean, we saw back on CT side, his aggressive kills were constantly giving OpTic advantage in the other round, and this time in the pistol, he's the one that leads the way and finds all those early frags.
Yeah, and I think I think the biggest strength on OpTic is that one of their biggest strengths of the team is that Mixwell, Rush, Tarek, and Naf, all 4 players can entry frag. All 4 players can lurk if they need to. 3 of them can op and rifle if they need to. They all have great pistols. Like they're so interchangeable in whatever role they need any of them to participate in, right? At any moment, one of them can entry frag. At any moment, one of them can clutch. One of them can lurk. They really understand the game at every aspect of it.
Well, Hiko's going to swing back in. Doesn't account for that little mini cubby. So FNX is actually going to find a pretty massive kill off of that one. And they're free to lurk back out and realize that there's nothing out on this B bomb site. OpTic aren't reacting to this in pace at all. So we'll be free to see more of the CTs actually wrap back up to the A bomb site, where previously they were heavily stacking down on the B bomb site. That'll still be the case. They still have 3 players fully committed down here, but there's going to be a little bit more of resistance up on top, and that includes the recovered Mac 10 on FNX right now. However, with the time getting lower, OpTic is going to start to set themselves up for an A push here, which still seems to have been the original plan and the one that they're going to stick with. As Molotovs have flood out onto the site, Lucas sits up in front, gets aggressive there. Decent damage done to Mixwell. Very quickly has to go back into the smoke behind the dice box. No success from OpTic though on getting kills on entry, despite spotting multiple players from the CT side. They're sufficed with just pushing them back, and Naf, while he was originally going to put the plant, he does actually try to bait them out a little bit, and it works to a certain degree. Steel still here with the CZ though. He chimes in with 1, bolts with the second. They do have to worry about this backflank working its way back in. Now Tarek dinked down to 22 HP, but still recovering for a second kill on his Steel there. And now it's just bolts no longer having any of the SMGs to recover on. He's going to try to push back in against this one. OpTic are falling back, but Naf is actually caught here partially. Unfortunately, bolts can't get the full kill, and as he walks into the open, Tarek will finish the job and end up with a 3K on the round.
Yeah, Tarek, it was pretty scary for that OpTic team when they were getting bombed down. They were getting flanked. They could have pushed through bank and the smoke. Luckily for them, Tarek's able to just whip around and kill 3 people, protecting Naf while he plants. So they are able to get that plant down. But had they not, that would have been very scary for OpTic, and they probably would have lost that round. But you know, now it's a full USP save from Immortals, so we'll most likely be seeing a 5-13 scoreline before Immortals can buy again.
FNX challenging back down here. Mix
Wow.
had him at 2 HP. Couldn't finish him though. So Mixwell takes a second, but he does respond onto FNX and eliminates him. He also see Naf basically walked up 2 sandbags for free over here in construction. So he's able to get a very advanced position. The thing is, though, is everything seems quiet on B, but there's actually a pretty monstrous stack, which OpTic are going to run right into. It's default pistols and 1 P250 on Henny, granted, but still, it could prove bad if they don't manage it properly. Thankfully, this time that's not the case, and they do end up with a 5-man alive round yet again.
Yeah, 5-13, and it's looking like OpTic is just definitely in the driver's seat right now. Nobody on Immortals is even really putting up any type of numbers. You know, everybody's negative right now. Not one player is in the positives or anything like that. So OpTic just complete control right now.
So we'll get into our first gun run and see if they can do anything to resist this. Real problematic thing for Immortals here is going to have to be basically a straight run if they lose this gun round. This is it. This is their last chance to try and salvage this map. Otherwise, they are going to be going 1-1 for the evening here. OpTic, obviously, a little bit more decisively moving their way over here into water this time to set up for something, but not going to be pushing in as quickly as they have in some of the past rounds. Keeping Tarek back kind of on the lurk there to make sure nobody from the Immortals' roster pushes over towards them. But other than that, just a slow play out through Monster itself. Well, they're given free control. Nobody's watching out for it currently, so they're free to walk back up. Steel is here, but on the top of the actual platform itself. And there we go. It's 1-for-1 for him. Bolt's trading in, but look in the wrong direction here. It goes 2-for-2, but Hiko's going to chime in to make it the evener. As he takes out Lucas, we have Tarek moving in now to join him. And the rotations will be moving in swiftly. FNX already has a position back down by construction too, and that could prove very, very dangerous if they don't account for that one. Henny watching out for any movement in that direction. He hasn't spotted anyone, but with all this time wasted, OpTic are also very securely in their post-plan positions, very far back in the site. Now, in terms of utility, this is also going to be a problem for the Immortals. They don't have anything to work with. A single smoke sits on Henny, but that is all that they have currently. They're both going to be dropping back in. Henny wanted to actually wrap back down. FNX is going to go around the corner here, finds Hiko, down he goes. It's just a mission of locating Tarek, but FNX looks in the complete wrong direction. It's traded off 1-for-1, and the smoke misses, so that's going to send Henny right in the other direction, right back up to the A-bomb site to save, and it'll be a 14th round for OpTic.
Tarek had another Molotov, but that smoke doesn't even land, and he doesn't have a kit anyway, so there's no possible way for him to really win that round. It was kind of just all on FNX to not only get the kill, but then defuse the bomb, and Henny just still in heaven, kind of covering, not able to see anybody. So 5-14, and it's looking very, very grim for Immortals.
Yeah, as they do decide to actually force into this one with a saved op. Gun power is still not going to be great. Lucas and Steel and SMGs, FNX and a shoddy Bolts with a Deagle, and getting mollied out very early on in the round here to 36 HP. But look at this stack. Bolts, if he didn't get flashed, he could have done massive damage right there. But it's not meant to be. He has to fall back away from this one. Cannot risk his life this early on. Both teams are actually taking significant amounts of damage through utility in these little mini peaks here. But nothing significant just yet until right now. And finally, Henny's able to swing back out from the bathroom position and find Mixwell over there at the entrance to Short A. The rest of OpTic, though, are going back in their direct monster play. Again, Immortals aren't putting a direct contest onto this push. They're letting them in underneath of the tracks here. Tarek, though, gets hit by a flashbang and has a duck behind cover. He's down to 15 HP, and he's kind of stuck now, too, because there's no one else from his team to support him. Naf is going to swing around, but Bolt is also sitting here. They're actually going back up through the connector. FNX misses a very crucial shot, though, and that's going to let them in. And also, Bolt gets baited into chasing those players that were moving into the connector, so rush downstairs. He's able to surprise against Bolt, eliminate him, and then combo into a second as well against Lucas. Steel and Henny are the last two standing here, and they will go back to the original plan, committing it over towards B. Steel at 56 HP, ducked behind Toxic. They haven't found him yet, and if he checks down below, he's got these two players that he can take down, but no, he goes for Naf, who is still essentially at full HP. Henny's setting himself back down below, but it's a 1v4, and even with the low HP players, maybe he can chime off onto one or two of them, but ultimately he's going to have to fall back again to save.
Yeah, and that should have been Immortals round. I mean, Henny makes it 4v5. He rotates to B, and then Tarek makes contact at Monster, and he informs his team, you know, they're stacked, they're stacked, they're stacked. Run away, run away, run away. They run through the sewers up to the door. FNX not able to get a kill there, but they still had 2 players peek from short in order to try to trade kill. Not able to get any of. What is going on, Blue? Henny just somehow gets 3 players that are chasing him. For OpTic, I don't think they care that much. They'll even try to let him get the ace.
Isaiah's going to leap it. He'll miss the shot, and it'll be denied.
No, it's worth it. Absolutely worth it. You know what? Look at Immortals' money. They take away an op. OpTic is still going to be able to buy. You know, as much as it sucks to, you know, have 3 players die while you're chasing. You know what? You get the op down, and you have enough money to buy. As I say that, Henny just has another op. But still, regardless, it is worth it.
I mean, he's got a glass cannon op this time, obviously, so he's not going to be able to play out in the open as aggressively. He's going to take different angles and whatnot, so it limits his capability because of that one. And again, it's a pretty scrapped together buy for the rest of the team here still as well. FNX is on like a FAMAS with no utility. Lucas and Steel, they get utility, but they're down on UMPs again.
You do not expect Henny to miss a shot like that. He almost took out Mixwell a second time in a row to make it 4v5, as Mixwell is just kind of out on his own at Fountain. Definitely not expecting an op to be there.
So they get that intel early on here, and Mixwell having control of Party. The entire entrance area to Short A is theirs, but Bathroom was still a bit of a mystery and a bit of a cautious one at that when you look at how many players on Immortals are stacked over there. You've got Lucas sitting on the direct approach, FNX sitting in the long and short connector, and then Henny still waiting over here back behind that flower pot. Flashbang out, and again, it does hit Mixwell, but no follow-up. Everybody on Immortals is saying so quiet right now, not wanting to give away anything at all. They want to make this a big surprise, but the bomb is still down at B, so if it ends up executing towards B, that's not going to work out, and FNX finally gets impatient, and that's where Mixwell is going to be able to strike. The patient play works out in his favor. Now he may have one more up his sleeve as well as he spots Lucas trying to retreat. A second one for him, and he still knows that Henny's up on top, gets behind the wall, survives the op shot, down at 38 HP, but that op, again, is isolated, and it's a glass cannon, so Henny's very limited with what he can actually do with it. Doesn't even have another pistol to play with, too. He's just stuck on the USP, so Tarek's going to swing in, but oh, he second judges himself, but now Bolts are behind Semi over here. He's able to pick up another kill. Takes him a second to pick up the AK, but he's just upgraded. Unfortunately, this was all a ruse as they were executing down on the B bomb site in the meantime. They get control here, and it's going to be evened out into the 3v3, but they gave out the 10 to 20 seconds to set up for post-plant positions, and plenty of time as well for Mixwell to rotate back down. Nades will go in. Those are going to miss. We still have Rush with a smoke, Molotov, and 2 flashbangs to try and hold these guys off at the main area, along with the smoke that's still up in heaven right now, too. But the Molotov is actually going to send Rush out. Steel grabs that kill. There's only really one more on the site. Mixwell's still kind of rotating back in, but he's here now. Now holding a close corner. Mixwell finding one more. Down to the 1v1 it goes, but Bolt's trying to get aggressive, but Mixwell's there for it, and he closes out this with a 4K. A huge round for him. 16-5 is going to be the final scoreline, and OpTic do trade it 1-1 for the evening.
Yeah, big round by Mixwell at the end there, and OpTic, what was the end there, 16-6?
16-5 or 16-6, something like that.
I think it was the same score that game, but for OpTic than it was for Immortals in the other game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was reverse scorelines. So anyways, OpTic comes back after a crushing defeat on Cobble, but they showed a lot there. Like, they were definitely the better team. Mixwell, especially in that last round, was pretty impressive.
Yeah, Mixwell coming out, Tarek, especially in the first half there, too. A lot of good stuff being shown for OpTic, but that's going to do it for us this evening, guys. Let's send it back over to our analysis desk one more time to close out the evening.
One more time. Thank you, Blue. Thank you, Daze. And you know what? I was wrong. I didn't see that map going that way.
I don't think either of us did. Coming into the night, I thought that they would trade maps. It was a series we could see going 2-0, but at the same time, a 1-1 made sense. However, I would have flipped the maps the other way. I thought that, it would have been OpTic who took Cobble, based on what we've seen from them in the past. But obviously, the loss of Stanislaw kind of hurt them. Their T side got a little bit dry towards the end. And in general, they just fell apart. And the same could be said about Immortals. It felt like OpTic just had control of the entire map.
Yeah, even looking at the very beginning there in that first half, we did see sort of more of a back and forth type of bout between these two teams very early on in the game.
Yeah.
But, it obviously wasn't enough to muster up just a grandeur of a fight from the Immortals camp. So at that point, they've been in the back foot. They found themselves in the back foot the majority of that first half, which obviously is not going to put you in a good place for the second half.
No, it ended up being a really strong score for OpTic in the first half. I think the first half closed out, 10-5? And then, OpTic really just kind of controlled the entirety of that game. The map closes out 16-5, so obviously we didn't see Immortals pick up a single round in the second half.
Let's look at round 8 right now. We did see Immortals go for an A fake here, walk right into what should have been it should have been a massacre, but let's take a look at it right now.
Yeah, I mean, they went for an A fake here, and you can see Steel setting up the smokes, and they start working towards this A bomb site with 2 players. They are creeping in towards B, and Hiko's got a great angle, and they also have Rush there on the other side. This is a setup, and Daze said it too, that should crush this push every single time. But it doesn't happen, and ultimately they get picked apart by the players who are still alive on A, and they're trapped in between A and B bomb site. They don't know what to do at that point. It's Immortals' round to take.
Now, the Immortals, the OpTic that we saw there on Cobble and the OpTic that we saw there on Overpass, what really happened?
They were just 2 totally different teams.
Yeah, just night and day.
They clearly had a plan on Overpass, which I felt like they lacked on Cobble. They kind of came into Cobble a little bit disorganized, disjointed, whereas on Overpass, everything seemed to work like cohesively as a team. They just seemed better. Like all across the board, they worked together as a team more than we saw from them on Cobble.
Well, what really did work, and I think the final nail in the coffin is going to be round 16. That's the second pistol. OpTic has a flawless pistol round here.
This was absolutely just unreal. And we're coming into the second half. They got a kill at the top of Connector, then they went back down towards the B bomb site. Lucas gets cleaned out quick, and then they try to get a kill from the pillar on site, but both Rush and I think it was Henny and Bolts, who are playing both pillar and toxic barrels, get nothing going. And at the end, it's just Steel and Tarks right there around the corner. I mean, it was just like headshot after headshot after headshot for OpTic.
No, absolutely. Not only did they get the 5 kills, 5 alive, got the bomb plant, putting them in a really bad position there going forward for Immortals. And at that point, that's why I say nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I mean, they were already up 10-5. Winning the pistol round at least puts you at 13-5. You're very close to the finish line at that point. And, what are you supposed to do if you're Immortals? You're on that back foot. You're starting to get scared. You start forcing the issue, taking fights that maybe you don't need to take, trying to play the hero role for your team, and you end up putting yourselves in a worse situation than you would be if you just took your time and slowed things down.
Well, slowing things down a little bit more, but only on our side, because this next guy on fire. Let's talk about Nav.
So we profiled Nav coming into this game because he's been so good lately. I mean, look at that, 40 and 28, 82.7 ADR. Not necessarily, an unreal, insane performance, but still very solid and consistent, kind of matching what he's been putting up across the season thus far. He's currently the top performer, or at least he was coming in tonight, for OpTic. Just consistent performances every night. And on top of that, he's also the in-game leader now.
Nav is definitely one of those players that will take the ball game into his hands. He will take it and he will try to run with it. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. It's consistency. He's able to come out there and he's able to put down that firepower. And, and sometimes, in some cases, rallying up the rest of the troops.
I mean, when he played with, the Denial team once upon a time, he was not necessarily that, profile performer. He kind of faded into the background. But he always had that potential. You would see it every once in a while. It would come out. He'd have some, just unreal performance in a game. He would show up big for the team. But then the next game, again, just back in the background, just doing his thing. He's not playing bad. He's just not the top performer. Since he, took the role of in-game leader on OpTic and just in general with OpTic, he's played on a different level than we've seen from him in the past. And I'm very much impressed from Nav.
Well, not only is NAF impressive, let's take a look at some of the results from tonight's matchups here at ESL Pro League Season 5. So we pulled them up in front of you. We did see Cloud9 and WinterFox go at it earlier today. Not a whole lot to say about that one, huh, Bach?
Yeah, kind of unfortunate for WinterFox. Not the greatest showing for them. Cloud9 did get a bit of a soft opponent, and then, of course, we just watched that other series go on, and you can see the effect it has on the standings. OpTic now pushing up to first place with a 5-1 record, plus 30 round differential.
Right, yeah, looking down at them bottom, 4 or 5 teams, I mean, it's a little bit of a rough pack. It's still early on in the season, though. They shouldn't just give up on all that is hope.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at your Rush, Renegades, and WinterFox. None of those teams have managed to find a win yet. It's a bit of a rough start for them, but we will see a bit from them starting tomorrow. I believe that's tomorrow, correct?
Yes, that's actually true. We will be back tomorrow at the same great time, same great place. We've got Renegades and Cloud9 and Liquid and Complexity going head-to-head on the maps that you do see in front of you. I mean, Bach, the current Cloud9 versus the current Renegades, I think that the guess there is, one more than the other. And you know what? Actually, the current Liquid versus the current Complexity. Are we going to have 2 blowouts tomorrow?
I think that tomorrow could be a very interesting day, potentially a very short day.
Well, you know what? There you said it. I mean, personally, we had a great day of matches. I'm glad to be back here. I've thoroughly missed these guys.
Missed you.
I appreciate it. I mean, you don't have to touch me, but it's cool. All right. I do appreciate you guys. We do appreciate you guys here at the ESL Pro League Season 5. We will see you guys back here tomorrow for some more great Counter-Strike as we do find out which teams are going to be going to the finals. Give it.